And why aren't you in uniform?
Hello there and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be doing a Dragonmaid deck profile post-Eternity Code. The deck profile will be a little different where I run through the card list first, and if you guys want to stay with me a little bit longer, I'll show you why I chose the certain cards as well as the ratios for the cards. Alright, and before I forget, if you like this type of content, YGL related content, if you could hit the like button for me, that would really appreciate it, as well as subscribe if you think, you can learn something. Maybe. Probably not. Let's go ahead and get started then. Running triple Chamber Dragonmaid, triple Parlor Dragonmaid. Now I'm only running 2 Kitchen Dragonmaid and only the 1 Nurse Dragonmaid, and that is it for the little Dragonmaids. Alright, now for the big Dragonmaids, I'm running triple Ernest, Dragonmaid Ernest, and only one of each of the Dragonmaid, the large Dragonmaids, the Dragonmaid Tenke and Lopar, and that is it for the Dragonmaid monsters. Now for the non-Dragonmaids, triple Phantasme, 1 Tempest, 1 Prankertops, and 2 Ash Blossoms to round up the monster lineup. Now for the spells, I'm running triple Dragonmaid Hospitality, and only 1 of each, 1 Dragonmaid Welcome and 1 Changeover, and that will be it for the Dragonmaid spells. Now for the non-Dragonmaid spells, I'm running triple Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars, 2 Called by the Graves, 2 Super Poly, and for my 1-ofs, I'm running 1 Dragon Shrine, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Reasoning, 1 World Legacy Guard Dragon, 1 Dark Ruler Lamore, and last but not least, 1 Infinite Impermanence. Now for the extra deck monsters, I'm going to start off with the fusions. I'm running triple House Dragonmaid and only 2 Dragonmaid Shu. Now for the non-Dragonmaid fusions, 1 Trishula, the Dragon of the Icy Imprisonment, 1 Mud Dragon, 1 Starving Venom, and 1 Violet Chimera. Now for the links, I'm running 2 Heavenly Spheres, 1 Striker Dragon, 1 Twin Triangle Dragon, 1 Destruction Swordsman, and last but not least, 1 Saryuja. And that's it for the extra deck monsters. Alright guys, let's go ahead and go for the explanation. The reason why I chose the cards that I did with starters with the triple Chamber Dragonmaid. This one is crucial in my opinion due to the fact that it grabs your spell and trap cards. More importantly, your Hospitality, which is your basically Monster Reborn and Foolish Burial at the same time. This card is really good. When it's normal or special summon, it can go ahead and grab any of your spell and traps. During the battle phase, you can go ahead and bounce this one and grab any of the level 7 or higher Dragonmaid monsters, which includes your fusion cards. Your cards like House Dragonmaid and Dragonmaid Shu. This one's really good. The only thing, it doesn't get that rebounce effect at the end of the battle phase where it tags back into one of the bigger ones. But honestly, it doesn't matter. It allows you to recur all your resources essentially, which is really good. So that one needs to be at 3. Alright, for the next trio, it's going to be triple Parlor Dragonmaid. The reason why I think you need to run this at 3 is because it's your Foolish Burial. This one's your Foolish Burial, only better because it allows you to not only dump any Dragonmaid monster, it also allows you to dump any spell or trap card, which is crucial you can go ahead and normal this, dump your changeover, which is your fusion spell, and then you can go ahead and use the spell effect, which allows you to bounce a Dragonmaid card from your field to your hand, and then you can go ahead and grab, add that one back from the graveyard to the hand, which is really good. That's why I feel like this one at 3 is a must-have. All right, now for the reason why I'm running 2 kitchen. The reason I'm running 2 kitchen is because I feel like Parlour Dragonmaid as well as Chamber Dragonmaid already do so much for the deck. If anything, you don't want to draw into too many of the little ones, so cutting down a little bit allows you to go ahead and use more of your other resources. Now for the one Nurse Dragonmaid. Honestly, this one you could bump it up to 2. 3 is too cloggy. I think 1 or 2 is a great number. The reason for it is because recursion. You can grab this one when it's no more special summon. It allows you to special a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your graveyard. So the fact that running it at 1, I feel like sometimes it's harder to see, but it's on your preference, honestly. For your preference, if you want to run 2 so you could see it more, go for it. But I think 1 and 2. I think at 1 or 2 is you can't complain. 3, I wouldn't recommend it because you're gonna end up seeing it way too much and you're gonna brick, in my opinion. That's it for the little ones. And now for the big Dragonmaids. The reason why I chose 3 Ernest was because of its quick effect. It's a level 7 and by far one of the best Dragonmaid cards. Its quick effect reads, when it's in your hand, you can discard it, quick effect, and special summon any level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster, which gets the ball rolling because all the level 4 lowers, when they're normal or special, their effects will go off. The second reason why is because it's a level 7 and it'll basically be fodder for, if need be, for the Sacred Swords of the 7 stars. So you can draw 2 cards. Or it can be bait as well. It can be used for any amount of the reasons. Now for the singles, the reason why I'm only running 1 Dragonmaid low par and 1 Tinke is because essentially they can be breaks in your hand if you draw too many of the monsters and not enough of the spells. I cut it down so you could get better consistency. These cards, if they had quick effects, they'd be nuts. This one stops for when you can discard this card to target 1 card on the field to negate its effects for the rest of the turn, and this one allows you to gain 2k for any Dragonmaid monster you swing with. That's the reason why I chose to only run 1 of each, mainly because of the consistency factor. Now for the non-Dragonmaid cards, which would be Triple Phantasme. This card is great going second, going in, that way you can fix your hand if need be, and you have a level 7 right here for, again, the Sacred Sword. So for sure, Fantastical Dragon Phantasme at 3 is a must-have. Now for my last 2, 1 Prankertops, 1 Tempest. The reason I chose Prankertops was because it's essentially spot removal, and it's a level 7. Originally, I was running 2 Cosmic Cyclones, which actually isn't too bad of an idea, but I was finding myself trying to drawing into more Cosmics, and I figured why not have a spot removal and a possible fodder for the Sacred Sword to draw 2, and but. That's the reason why, or that's mainly the reason why I chose Prankertops. I'm testing it out and see, and so far it's not too bad. Now for Tempest, for example, this one has a nice, interaction. You don't, essentially you don't want to, when you draw into it, you don't really want to banish your Dragonmaid monsters all too quickly unless you already have a board presence and already have cards in field. You don't want to go ahead and banish your only 2 Dragonmaid cards that you have in the graveyard, because then you'll have no way to get to more resources, essentially, if you draw to too many spells. But the beauty of Tempest and the Sacred Sword of the 7 stars is when Tempest is banished, it allows you to go ahead and grab any win dragon monster from your deck to your hand, which is actually pretty nuts, because you can go ahead and just grab either, here, let me go ahead and grab it. You can go ahead and grab Parlour or the 1 low par straight from your deck to your hand, which in my opinion, that's a big plus. You can grab any of these 2 with the effect. And that's the reason why I chose these two. And the fact that Tempest, when if it survives long enough, if you can special summon it during your turn and you still have, you know, board presence, having this on field at the end of your opponent's turn, it bounces back to the hand. And if you have a House Dragonmaid, it automatically triggers the effect to pop a monster on the field, which is also pretty nuts. Alright. Now for my last two, Ash Blossom. Almost every deck runs it at 3. I personally think 2 is good. You don't want to draw into too many. Because, I mean, if you draw, I feel like the reason why I chose the cards at 2 is just for consistency. That's the only reason why I'm running it at 2. But yeah. And that's it for the monster lineup, not for the spells. Alright, I know let's go ahead and get started with the Dragonmaid spells. Alright. Dragonmaid Hospitality. This one, what I mentioned before, it's basically your Monster Reborn and your Foolish Burial all in one. It reads, you can activate this card, special summon one Dragonmaid monster from your hand. Special summon one Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then you can send one Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level from your deck to your graveyard. You can only activate one Dragonmaid Hospitality per turn. This card is nuts. This is why certain decks are abusing just that small Dragonmaid engine, because of the recurrence. It's essentially 3 Monster Reborns and a Foolish Burial. It gives you field presence and graveyard presence, which is really nuts. And honestly, I think that's why I love Dragonmaids, really. Let's see. Alright, and then one of each of the Dragonmaid Welcome and Dragonmaid Changeover. But yeah, having it at 1 is good because it recurs itself. This card you want to see mid to late game easily. You don't want to drawing into it. It's kind of brickish if you don't already have an establishing board, because you want to use this effect once you have 2 Dragonmaid monsters at least. That way you can use the other effect to go ahead and grab any card, which normally would be your changeover. You can go ahead and reuse it because this is not a once per turn. The only thing that's a once per turn, the fusion effect is not a once per turn. The once per turn effect is if when it's in the graveyard, you can bounce a Dragonmaid card to your deck or to your hand, and then add this one to your hand. That's the only thing that's once per turn. But the fusion effect, you can go ahead and do that as many times as you want. Usually I'd grab a changeover over anything, unless you need a monster, which you could also recur your extra deck monsters. You can go ahead and target your House Dragonmaid or Dragonmaid Shoe. That's why I only run 2 Dragonmaid Shoe, honestly. Alright, the reason I'm running Sacred Swords of the 7 Stars over something like Pot of Extravagance or what's the other card? Trade-In. I was running Trade-In, test playing with Trade-In, but I found it it wasn't great. It wasn't as great, and I basically had to bump up more of the level 8s, which honestly the best one is the level 7. So with this one, even though you do banish it, some of these have, for example, Phantasme. You can activate Phantasme during your opponent's turn, refix your hand already, and then going second, you can banish the Phantasme from your field to go ahead and +2, and that's the reason why I chose those. And then, you know, that interaction I mentioned earlier with Tempest, where when Tempest banishes itself, or when it gets banished, it allows you to grab any Wind Dragon monster, which is really cool. That's why I chose 3 of those. My 2 ofs for the non, Called By, and Super Poly. Alright, this, like I mentioned before, this is more of a going second build, but it could go first very easily. I've done some test hands where going first is actually pretty fun, actually. The reason for it, again, when I'm running 2 of, in my opinion, it's for consistency purposes, and not to see it more, but to see it less often. Like, I want to see it, but at the same time, I don't want to see it in every turn 1 hand, you know. And that's the reason why I chose these 2 at 2. Now my 1-ofs. The reason for these 2, for graveyard presence essentially, or for getting your graveyard established. One reasoning, this one's perfect. This one it's really hard to call because we run so many levels, so it's really hard for your opponent to call the right level essentially. So it's like a free summon, and all these cards, all the level 4 or lower, their effects activate as soon as they're special or normal summon. So it's basically a free body essentially if it doesn't get ashed. Also, great ash bait. Alright. My other Monster Reborn. And there's a reason why. And then my other Monster Reborn. Alright. Very self-explanatory. And last, but actually no, I have one more. Okay. Alright. And then one Dark Ruler no more. I know now most people are maining 3. The reason why I only chose 1, to be honest, I just needed some filler. I was considering, this could have been anything really. I just threw Dark Ruler no more, just I was testing it out essentially. I was considering putting 1 Pranker Top, because I was running 2 Cosmic Cyclone before, so that left a spot open. I was thinking of maybe just keeping the Cosmic, but I was like, I felt like Dark Ruler no more, you know, just try it out, see how it is. It's test play essentially, so you can, you know, you can change this to whatever you want, honestly. Alright, and then the 1 Infinite Impermanence. The only reason I'm running 1 Infinite Impermanence is because I only have 1, to be honest. So honestly, I would bump this up if I had more copies, but I only have the 1 Lonely Secret one. But no, that's it for the that's for the deck list right there, and the reason why I chose those ratios. Now for the extra deck. Triple House Dragonmaid. This card reads during the standby phase. During the standby phase, you can target 1 other Dragonmaid monster you control, special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position whose level is 1 higher or lower than it. When and then anytime a face-up Dragonmaid monster or monsters you control return to the hand, except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster on the field. Sorry, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it. This card is nuts, and the beauty of this one is if you have 2 on field, you can go ahead and do multiple, you know, destruction effects. So during the battle phase, essentially, as long as your opponent can be, as long as your opponent's monster can be targeted, when they declare an attack, you can use the little ones to bounce back, to special the other ones, and that will automatically trigger House Dragonmaid's effect to destroy. And that's really good. I really love that card, and honestly, you can run it at 2 because Dragonmaid, the way the Dragonmaid cards are, they recur very well together. So running 2, you can always bounce it back to the extra deck and re-summon it with changeover, and that's why you can do 2 or 3. If you have a different strategy than I do, you can cut back 1 and still run it like as if you were running 3. You just got to be more conservative with it. That's why that's the reason why I have 3, just so not to worry about too much. But you could run it at 2, and I wouldn't mind running it at 2 either. Alright, I'm running 2 Dragonmaid shoes. I feel like running 2 is perfectly fine. The reason for it, it's a non-renegate, and anytime your opponent activates a card or effect, it can negate it, destroy it, and it bounces back to the extra deck, which is really nice. I love the standby phase where it gets interaction on your opponent's turn, essentially. Well, in either or. It allows you to special summon a level 9 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your graveyard, or from your hand. So basically any Dragonmaid card, essentially, which is really awesome. That's why I run 2. I mean, I could run 3, but I feel like that's overkill. You could save space and add any other thing instead. And then for my one-ofs, I'm running 1 Trishula, the Dragon of the Icy Imprisonment. I use the effect with changeover or super poly, and it works really well. And you can go ahead and rip something off your opponent's extra deck. If it's a really heavy combo deck, you can hit that 1 starter, which could be, you know, Link Cross or, you know, Helifibrax or Fiber, whatever you want to call it, and, you know, really hurt their play going in the next turn. Yeah, that's the reason why I run 1 of. It's a nice little tech piece. Now for the one-ofs of Super Poly, 1 Mud Dragon, the 1 Mud Dragon, the 1 Violet Chimera, and 1 Starving Venom. These cards are pretty much self-explanatory. Well, yeah, well, they all are really. Mud Dragon, all it requires is two of the same attribute with different types, I believe, or did I read it backwards? Yeah, 2 monsters with the same attribute with with different types. Violet Chimera is for Salad players alone. Salad's still a thing, believe it or not. So having that in your extra deck is, I feel like it's really good. I mean, you can always use it as a side and have it in your side deck, knowing whenever you do play a Salad player, you can just go ahead and go in game 2 and have it already ready. And same with Starving Venom, same concept. You can have it in your side, but having there, there's so many dark monsters, and sometimes it's really good if you don't have such a great hand. You have targets of your own where you can go ahead and go into Starving Venom if you have like a Striker Dragon on field, your own Striker Dragon, or your Chamber Dragonmaid because it's the dark, and if your opponent has a dark monster as well, you can super poly into that very easily. Or if they're running all darks, very easy summon. Now for my links. The one Striker Dragon. This one I do not run boot sector launch, as you can see. I just use it as an extra body, essentially. It's just a level 4. You just need a level 4 lower monster to summon this bad boy, and it's a dark attribute. It's really good. Like I said, like I mentioned before, right now with a super poly target, if you need to, as well as when you can use this if you get ashed with Parlor or your Chamber or Kitchen, for example. You can just, if you don't already have a Stampage board, you can just link it away, and then you can use any of your 5 monster reborns to bring it back, and then you have a quick House Dragonmaid. Being able to have a link one dragon is really good because it gets your plays moving if need be. I don't go it too often, but if I do, it's nice to have. I'd rather have it than not have it, essentially. That's the best way I can describe it. My other one of Twin Triangle Dragon. I feel like this one's not too bad. I've been playing it out. It's mainly for testing. I like the fact that, if sometimes you can go into this guy and basically bring another body on board, and you can link climb a little higher, essentially. You pay when it's link summon, as long as it has an arrow it points to, you can go ahead and, if there's a space where you can, the link arrow points to, you can pay 500 life points and special any level 5 or higher dragon monster. But its effects are negated when it's on the field. But like I said, I'm just test playing with this one. This one's just I just needed another link to any other link to that doesn't require dragons to go ahead. That's a dragon that doesn't require dragons. This one just requires any 2 monsters with different names, if I'm not mistaken. No, even better. This one only requires 2 monsters, in order to bring out this bad boy. And it doesn't really matter which arrows it points to, but I do like the fact that they point down. This one's just basically more fodder, essentially, just like the Striker Dragon. And the one Saryuja to go ahead and dig you in deeper, as well as special summoning anything from the hand. You can easily get 4 monsters on board, which is really cool. And then with the other Twin Dragon, you can climb too, but if you want the draw effect, having 4 additional ones, it's really good. That's why I chose to keep this one on board. You can always switch this up and add something else though. Now, last but not least, 2 Hieratic Seals. The reason I like running it is because it's great disruption, as well as it's another body on field when it special summons from the extra deck. Or from the deck, I'm sorry. And that's why I chose to run those instead. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave a like for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you like watching pack openings, I did a Toon Chaos Walmart pack opening if you guys want to check that out. Alright guys, on to the next one.